Stephen King brought us Halloween a little bit early this year, so I had to go ahead and do that also. Hey Cake Nieces, it's Marisha. Now, if you don't know what it is a clown film. No, I'm not gonna watch it. I don't intend on watching it. I saw a clip just so I could get the gist of the film, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed. The lights were off last night and I looked down the stairway and thought I saw a clown at the bottom of the stairs. So why do I need to watch the whole film? I don't. But I am gonna make some banging cupcakes that are going to be dedicated to this new It film. So if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel and let's just get started, okay? The first cupcake that I'm going to be working on is the Georgie cupcake. I'm just going to make a paper boat out of fondant. So I'm going to make two pieces that look like a paper boat shape, as well as that center triangular piece. And then I'm just going to use water and sandwich them all together. And there's my boat. So just like in the movie, I'm going to paint Georgie with a little bit of black gel dye. And I'm using a very thin, fine paintbrush. This was very tedious, so please take your time. You can also use an edible marker. That would be absolutely wonderful. I'm going to use yellow buttercream because Georgie was wearing a yellow raincoat. And I also made some red glaze out of red gel dye and burgundy gel dye. A little bit of confectioner's sugar and water. Poor Georgie. You know, that boy just wanted his boat, and I just feel so bad. So I definitely had to dedicate a cupcake to poor Georgie. Now we're gonna move on to the red balloon cupcake, which is just like the classic It thing. I'm gonna take a small piece of red fondant and flatten it out and just kind of screw that onto a lollipop stick, and then make a balloon shape with some red fondant and screw that on as well. You can secure it with a little bit of water, but I actually didn't even have to. It stayed perfectly fine together. Now we're going to make an arm because we need something to hold this balloon. So I'm going to take a little bit of beige colored fondant and just kind of make like an arm shape, and then I used a small little pick tool to just flare out the very end. And then I took a small piece of fondant to cut out the fingers. And he has pretty scary, rough looking fingers. So if you want to go ahead and make those look ugly, you know, by accident or on purpose, I don't think it really matters. Now we're going to make his frilly sleeve. And I'm just cutting out a couple circles of fondant and then use my paintbrush to just kind of flatten it out and ruffle it up a little bit. And then you can wrap that around the sleeve. And if you hadn't noticed, all of the cupcakes in this video will be black because this video was kind of dark. So that's what we're going to do. I'm doing some black buttercream on a star tip. I also put a little bit of beige in there. And I'm just putting that arm on top, and on goes the balloon. There you go. Now we're going to work on Pennywise costume cupcake. We're going to take some more of those fondant rounds. I just used a larger tip this time to make larger ruffles, and you're going to need about 3 or 4 of these. I actually like the look of 2 large ones and then 2 small ones. Once again, you can use some type of thin fondant tool or the edge of a paintbrush. And that's it. That is the collar of his shirt. So to put this together, I'm using beige buttercream, and I'm just going to pipe a big old swirl on there, and then put 3 red balls down the center, and then top it with that frilly collar of his. I've saved the best for last. Now is the It cupcake. I'm cutting out 2 eyes, as well as 2 pieces of fondant that I can just roll into like eyelids. And I'm just putting that at the top. So I'm going to use a small round tip to cut out 2 circles of yellow fondant. And that's going to go right in the center of his eye. And we're going to only use half of that. We're going to cut away the other half. Then 2 black dots of fondant for pupils. And then we're going to take that white fondant that we rolled out into that thin little strip. Make sure that it's thinner on the outer edge than it is on the inner edge. And just apply that on there with some water. And now we have to add the darkness to the eyes. He can't look happy like he's, you know, helping children get to school on time. So we're going to put some black fondant on the under eye part. As well as right below that white piece of lid that we put on there. We're going to up the ante a little bit and take some maroon gel dye. You can also just use red gel dye, which is what I use later on. And you're going to outline the yellow and the pupil of the eye. He just looks like he hasn't slept in a long time. He's been too busy doing horrible things. And you know, you can't have pearly white eyes when you're a bad guy. So, you know, this part is kind of necessary. Now we're going to work on the mouth. I rolled out some black fondant. I'm going to cut out like a large open mouth. And he's got a couple buck teeth, you know. So we're going to cut out 2 white teeth and make sure that they're jagged. They're definitely not perfect. I even added a little bit of brown just to make it look like it was tinted, because he does not have white teeth at all. But surprisingly, he has very plump red lips. We're going to wrap that fondant around the bottom, make sure that it's nice and thick in the center. And then just a thin strip of fondant on the top. The nose is the easiest part. You're going to roll like a jelly bean shape or an oval shape, and then you can use the end of a fondant tool or paintbrush and poke 2 small holes as the nostrils. We're going to top this one with some white buttercream, of course, and then we're going to add our mouth, our nose, and our eyes. You can also make that red strip that goes from the outer edge of the mouth up to the eyes, which I did later. And I'm going to use a little bit of red buttercream to make the hair. And if you don't feel like it looks exactly like it, I think you can agree that it looks pretty evil regardless. They're a little bit disturbing, they're a little bit beautiful, and they're kind of couture, which is kind of cool. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Couture and It Cupcakes. Bye guys. So let me know what you might want to see next below in the comments. You could definitely rest assured that I'll be handing these out for Halloween. Definitely when, you know, kids come knocking on the door, they're going to be greeted with that. No questions about it. Hopefully they won't ever come back. And it's even creepier because it got warm in here. And now the fondant's kind of melting, so the mouth got bigger. And the eyes look more realistic than they did before. If it turns around in my hand like this, you'll never see me again. Tried to come get me from the sewers. I'm kicking it in its face.